sponsoring witnesses in the ICC case against the President Duterte, because as you mentioned, sir, all evidence related to the former chief executive's war on crime has already been destroyed. He mentioned that. What's your comment on that?
Sponsoring witnesses to cooperate or encouraging witnesses to cooperate? I don't know. We'll investigate that matter, and if it's true, then they will be cross-examined, those witnesses, in court, and these allegations will be put to them.
Sir, pertaining to the interim release, the annex terms and conditions, specifically paragraph 32, mentions that President Duterte will refrain from public engagement, holding office, and communicating with individuals outside his family. How does this affect the mandate given to him by the people of Davao as their newly elected mayor?
I look at the events in Davao and the elections as something else entirely. I view it as a vote of support for President Duterte, the former president, and I view it as a rejection of what was done to him by the current incumbent government. I don't view that as a mandate to rule Davao. Yes, of course, if he was released, then he would rule Davao, but he's not. He's sitting here in a prison. Physically, he's not able to govern at the present moment in time. It would be irresponsible for him, and he has told me that.
Okay. Are there already arrangements for his oath taking?
I'm not going to comment on that matter.
Okay. Who is exactly considered outside his family in the context of the interim release, sir?
Well, interim release, once again, is a matter which has to be decided, and also the scope of people who are in his family will also be decided.
Sir, could appeals or objections from civil society groups or international organizations influence the court's decision on the urgent interim release motion?
The victims have a right to make their voice heard, and they can comment on the application for interim release. And the court has already ordered the victims to make their observations known. They do that through a dedicated office in the court, which is called the OPCV, and the OPCV has responded.
Sir, in this particular question, should the Philippines is already a non-member state of the ICC, to the Rome Statute, is it legally possible for it to voluntarily offer to host President Duterte during his interim release?
Even non-state parties can host persons who are on interim release from the International Criminal Court, should the court approve it. Obviously, we would want President Duterte to go back to the Philippines. But if I'm not mistaken, the government has already stated, point blank, that it's not prepared to receive him.
Will the public eventually be informed, sir, about which government or governments, if any, has expressed willingness to receive President Duterte should interim release be granted?
I anticipate that could be the case in due course, indeed.
Sir, this question is highly political. Has your meeting with Senator Amy Marcos had any direct or indirect bearing on President Duterte's case before the ICC? Or if you're able to share what was the nature of or the purpose of your meeting?
I'm able to share that. It was me who asked to see Senator Amy Marcos. I wanted to see her because I saw her in action in the committee hearings. I was impressed by what she had to say. I was impressed by the way she handled those hearings, and I was impressed also by the conclusions and the report that she produced. So I asked to meet her in order to receive that report, and I did.
Thank you, sir. Sir,
and by the way,
yes, go ahead.
That report hasn't been published on the Senate website. I wonder why.
Thank you, sir. Is it legally realistic for former President Duterte to seek any form of remedy or protection under Dutch domestic law while under the jurisdiction of ICC?
Well, I think I know where that comes from. There's some Filipino lawyer who suggested that he might be able to seek remedies under Dutch law. That's not the case.
Sir, the last question. Is it common for the Office of the Prosecutor to express no opposition to a motion such as the interim release? Or is this unusual and specific only to the President Duterte's case?
As I've said, in the past, it's possible in offences against justice cases. However, this would be the first time if the prosecution do follow through on their original non-opposition, which was stated to me, to one particular complaint. If if they follow through on that, that would be the first time in an Article 5 case involving atrocity crimes or alleged atrocity crimes that the prosecution will express non-opposition to interim release, yes.
Attorney Kaufman, do you have any message to the Filipino people who is closely following the development of the case of President Duterte?
Yes, I do. As I said, respect the judicial process. A lot of gossip, a lot of allegations have been made, especially by people like Attorney Cristina Conti, that the supporters of former President Duterte are threatening witnesses or trolling judges. That is simply not true. Just respect the judicial process.
Thank you, Attorney Kaufman. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Subscribe to SMNI News Channel and turn on the notification bell to keep you up to date. Also visit our official social media accounts and join our community on Viber and Telegram.